That might be my first question. What was his name? Do you know?
It was also Woodland.
Woodland?
Woodland, yes.
Oh, Woodland.
Yes.
Well, I had mentioned that at Christmas time, my neighbor had threatened to bash mine and my dog the head in, and I didn't bother you with that then. And then...
Okay, so how can I help you tonight?
Well, he just basically drove away, and I guess without even talking to the guy to reassure me that I mean, I hope you don't mind that I don't like having to wonder if my head's going to get bashed in when I leave my front door. Like, that's a pretty good reason to call the police.
I mean, ma'am, are you taping me right now? Are you trying to bait me into something?
Excuse me?
I said, are you, your phone sounds funny. Am I being taped?
My phone?
Yeah, you're not trying to bait me into saying something, are you?
No.
Because I didn't say anything that you shouldn't be calling the police.
Well, the cop that came here just drove away.
Okay.
And
he didn't speak to you at all?
Yes, and I did not start out recording him, but when he said that he didn't want to talk to me anymore, then I did start recording him because I couldn't believe he was driving away and really sending the message very clearly to my neighbors that they can do whatever they want to me. And by the way,
what did he say to you?
Nothing. He was like half listening. He twisted words that I said to make it sound like I had been baiting my neighbor, like as if I was looking for trouble. I mean, I don't want that's stupid of me to speculate. I don't know what he was thinking. All I know is I was polite to him. I told him as quickly and concisely as I could what was going on, and pointed out that.
Okay, what is it that you feel you should have done differently?
Well, since I told him that my neighbor is selling crack, for one thing, and wasn't at all interested in that, I find that fascinating.
Well, how do you know that you're speculating again?
Well, when I have videotape, and I told him this too, of him handing off the package of Newports with money, and then the kids he sold it to actually lighting up an e-cigarette and smoking it in their car, which blew my mind.
An e-cigarette?
Okay, look, I am not the kind of person that wants to, like, get my nose in other people's crazy business, whatever. I am very much a live and let live.
Well, you said that somebody went in the car and smoking an e-cigarette. I said an e-cigarette, and now you're saying something else. What is the problem that you have with the officer? You asked me to a supervisor. I'm on the phone with you.
Please tell me how I contradicted myself.
Ma'am, listen, did you call me to argue with me? Please tell me what the officer did wrong.
I called you to tell me that I was threatened for a few times over the past couple of months, and the last time today, I've had enough of having to worry about taking my dog out to take a piss and wonder...
Okay, did somebody say something to you today?
Yes.
They did. Okay, now we're getting someplace. What did the person say to you? Because I wasn't at the call, and I didn't hear what you said.
I was minding my own business, watching television, when I heard his very loud voice go on about how I had parked purposely to, like, just inconvenience him, when all I had done was park my car on a side of my spot where there was a lot of ice, hoping that the warm car would melt the ice, and I was totally in my spot. So he was going on to a neighbor who also, she causes a lot of trouble for me over many years, and they were going on, and so I couldn't help but listen for 6 minutes. Yes, recording them, because I cannot believe what people do to me. And so at the end of their conversation, I chimed in with a simple, what's the problem now? Which is not unreasonable. And instead of telling me, oh, well, you know, you did this, and it's like, no. And I said to him, I parked my hot car there to melt the ice. How is this, like, a big issue? And then, long story short, he said to me, why don't you come down here? He said, I'm not afraid of you. The guy's 6'5". Why would I even? I'm from my balcony. I'm talking.
Okay, so he said, why don't you come down here? And what else did he say?
Well, that was what I took as threatening, because and then I responded to him with, why would I come down there? What? I said, why? What would happen if I come down there? Like, implying, what are you gonna? Like, I thought he was gonna say, you know, I'll be
Okay.
I'll beat you or whatever. And he didn't.
But he
say
didn't say that.
No.
Okay.
But he has said that before. He said just a few weeks ago. He said next time I go to jail, it's going to be for murder.
Oh, man, we're talking about tonight. What did and so he didn't say anything
The
else?
last thing I said was, "Do you want to get the police involved?" And as he's walking up the stairs, he said, "The police won't help you." What do you know?
I'm sorry, that does not constitute harassment. I mean, I'm not sure if you were looking for an arrest to be made, but you also did speak to your neighbors?
No, he did not speak to them.
He didn't speak to them.
No.
All right, well, I'll speak to him about that. I mean, you're 100% sure he did not speak to your neighbors?
I met him outside so as to be quiet, so as not to alarm my neighbors, and have him talk to him without him expecting him coming. And I showed
Okay.
him how my car was parked, which is completely, in my spot. And I
Okay.
said, this is what started it. And as I was walking downstairs for the first time since this morning, I noticed that there was an empty envelope from Kohl's. And I said to myself, why would, I don't know who opens their mail there, but I have not got a Kohl's bill for a long time. And I wanted to say to him, is it possible someone might have, like the mailman always puts mail in the wrong box. And imagine if someone took my account because the envelope's just sitting there empty, and who opens their bills? And anyway, that's a whole other thing. But the point is, if it went into his box, like I don't think they're stupid enough to try to.
Ma'am, did he also speak to the other parties involved?
No, and that's my point. Is I went outside and met the car.
Okay.
And I didn't start out recording him. Like I wanted to have just an open conversation with him and hoped he would help me. And when he said, well, you say you're yelling to him between your walls. And I said, no. I said, you can hear each other between the walls. And I said, I was, yelling to him, not at him. I was yelling from my balcony, but very civilly. I wasn't fighting with him.
It didn't sound like you had, to be quite honest, it didn't sound like you had much of a fight with your next door neighbor.
We didn't.
For the story you told me, so I honestly don't see why the police wouldn't even need to speak to him. You said something to him. He said, "Why don't you go down here?" And you didn't go down. You asked him, "What would happen if I did come down here?" He said nothing, and you both went to your own apartments.
No, and then I said, "Do you want to get the police involved?" And he said, "The police won't help you. The police don't want anything to do with you." And he takes a lot of comfort in that, and so I just find it interesting that the guy who sells crack and has prostitutes in that appear on a daily basis is not afraid of you, but when I call to say that he's threatened me, the cop comes and drives away and does absolutely nothing. It's just amazing to me.
Well, honestly, it didn't sound like he threatened you from what you told me. It didn't sound like a threat. He said, basically, go ahead and call the police.
This is the same guy who, he went in his house and hid, and this is the same guy that threatened to bash mine and my dog's head in.
Well, okay, did you call the police then?
I talked to Detective Martinez about it because I knew this would happen.
Okay, man.
It happened to me today. Tonight, the cop that came up, I don't know.
It doesn't. If they could be quite honest with you, maybe he drove away because it doesn't sound like any crime was committed. Yeah, you had a very, very, very slight argument with your neighbor.
Okay, you know what? I once wrote an essay about 3 years ago about a woman who kind of destroyed my life. And from
Ma'am, would you like the police?
Come to my door and tell me that I was borderline harassed.
I have no idea.